Story time about how my boyfriend gave me sleeping pills before his boys' night out. I had been dating my boyfriend for a year and we always had a pretty trusting relationship. One weekend, he was going to have a boys' night out with his friends and I was going to stay home. However, earlier in the day, we had gone into an argument about how he never checks his phone while he's out or replies to my text to check in. He said he shouldn't have to check in with me while he's out and I disagreed because I just want to make sure that he's okay. Fast forward to later that night when he's getting ready, I told him that even though we're fighting, I still expect him to keep in touch with me. He agrees this time without putting up a fight and asks me if I want to have a drink with him before he goes. He makes us some cocktails and we drink them together while we wait for his friends to come pick him up. When his friends get there, he kisses me goodbye and leaves. Not even half an hour later, I'm knocked out cold. I remember waking up once just for a second to use the bathroom, but then knocking out again. In the morning when I woke up, he was asleep next to me and I was really confused as to why I slept so much when I wasn't even tired. When my boyfriend woke up, he mentioned how nice it was that I hadn't messaged him and how I must have slept through the night after those cocktails. This raised some red flags and I quickly questioned him about what was in the cocktails. At first, he called me crazy and told me that he didn't do anything to them. However, after about 20 minutes of accusing him, he finally confessed. Part 2. My boyfriend gave me sleeping pills before his boys' night out. After I accused my boyfriend of messing with the cocktails, he admitted to putting a couple Benadryl in my drink. This, mixed with the alcohol, is what made me extremely sleepy and caused me to knock out for the whole night. I was furious when he said it. He clearly didn't see a problem with it and even made a joke about how he should do it more often when he doesn't want me pestering him. I freaked out at him and told him that what he did was not only wrong, but could also be a crime. I think this scared him a bit because he quickly started apologizing and promising to never do it again. Obviously, I'm not stupid and I wasn't going to stay with someone who would do that to me. I quickly called my family who came rushing over. I packed my things and my brothers kept my now ex in the other room and threatening him not to come around me. I got all my things together with my mom and my sister and left him that very day. He wouldn't stop blowing up my phone with apologies and sending sorry gifts to my work. I had to block his number and threaten him with a restraining order if he ever tried to talk to me again. I was horrified that someone would go to those lengths and I couldn't trust him after this. He even tried to get his family to text me to get back together with him, but when I told them why we broke up, they were shocked too. They apologized profusely on his behalf and told me to stay safe.
Story time on how my mom tried to convince me to have a threesome with her. So I had just graduated high school and my mom was single for a while. Then she started dating this guy, which me and my brother really liked, but he was a few years younger than my mom. And honestly, we were happy for her. She was very depressed and miserable with my dad, so we were okay with it because she was finally happy. So like I said, I had just graduated high school. And I always said I never wanted to go to college, so I started working retail. One day while I was at work, my mom called me and said, "Hey, let's go out shopping." And who am I to say no? So after I got out of work, I met my mom and we went lingerie shopping. That's what she specifically wanted to get. So we were at the store and the first thing she said was, "Let's get matching sets," which was weird coming from my mom. But I said, fine, come back for part 2. Story time on how my mom tried to convince me to have a threesome with her. Part 2. So like I said, it was really awkward coming from my mom because I've always been close with my mom, but never that close. And like I said, she was miserable with my dad, so I tried to do everything to make her happy. And I said yes. So we got our matching sets and we went home. When we got home, her boyfriend was there. Awkward. But whatever, I said hi to him and went straight to my room. My mom called me downstairs 10 minutes after, told me she wanted to propose me something. But first she said, "So you know there was a reason why I wanted to buy matching sets with you?" And I said, "No." And let's call her boyfriend Brian. She said, "Well, Brian gave me a really good idea. And I wasn't sure at the time, but I want to try new things." And then she said these words, "Let's have a threesome." I was speechless. And she said, "I know it sounds crazy now. Come back for part 3. Story time on how my mom tried to convince me to have a threesome with her. So she said, "I know it sounds crazy now, but hear me out." And then Brian jumped in and said, "It's not an actual threesome. What we really want is for you to watch us, but we want you to wear your mom's same lingerie." And I freaked out and literally rashed my mom and told her that for her, I would do anything. But that is so inappropriate, so disgusting. And most important of all, I said, "I'm your daughter." And only after all of that, she realized what she tried to propose me was wrong. And she kicked Brian out and tried to tell me how she was so sorry that she's embarrassed for herself. And guys, I called my dad, moved in with my dad. I have some communication with my mom, but after that day, nothing will ever be the same.
A few months ago, my boyfriend Blake and I went out to brunch with some of our friends. After a few mimosas, my close friend Jackie started talking about how she's been making a lot of extra money lately by making content on OnlyFans. A few of the other girls in the group started talking about it and asking Jackie about how much she's making off of it. Blake chimed in after a while and began asking Jackie a bunch of questions as well. He asked her what her content is like and how many videos she's made so far. At first, I didn't think anything of it because I was a little curious too. However, then he started to get a little too interested. He started recommending certain things she should do in her videos to sell more and get more people to watch and subscribe. This was the first red flag. He then asked her what name she came up with or what she goes by on OnlyFans, which to me sounded like he was trying to find her account to check it out later. I gave him a dirty look and he caught on quick and stopped talking about it. I felt a little uncomfortable and planned on talking to him about it later, but I ultimately decided to let it go because I thought I was being insecure. A few weeks later, we hung out with Jackie again when we went downtown with some friends. At one point in the night, Blake asked Jackie about her OnlyFans and how it was going. She smiled at him and told him that it's going great. I also noticed throughout the night he kept staring at her for long periods of time. After that night, I was suspicious and decided that I was going to do some detective work. Needless to say, I couldn't believe what I found. Part 2, I found out my boyfriend subscribed to my best friend's OnlyFans. When I got home, I went to Jackie's Instagram page and immediately noticed that Blake was following her, which he hadn't been before. This definitely got me thinking. I knew it was wrong and an invasion of privacy, but I couldn't help myself. I waited till Blake was asleep and I went through his phone. I came across a conversation with his coworker about Jackie's OnlyFans and my heart dropped. I went to his browser and opened the OnlyFans site, and not only did he have an account, but he was still logged in. I went to his profile and immediately saw that he was subscribed to Jackie's OnlyFans. Not only that, but he was sending her extra tips frequently as well. When I confronted him about it, I couldn't believe his response. He said it was just like watching adult videos and I shouldn't be mad at him for something like that. He continued stating that all guys do it and that he didn't see a problem with it. I was so mad I left for the night and called my friends, including Jackie, on a group call to tell him what happened. They all agreed with me on how weird and not okay it was and encouraged me to leave his ass. Jackie also said that she had no idea he was following her and that she was creeped out by it. However, when I asked some of my other friends, they thought it wasn't a big deal and agreed that all guys look at that kind of stuff. I decided that it was too much for me and I ended up breaking up with Blake. However, he's been messaging me nonstop to take him back and getting my other friends to agree with him. I know all guys look at stuff like that, but to me this was different. Did I overreact? Should I have given him a second chance?
I grew up in a small town. You know them towns where everyone knew everyone? Yep, that's us. We had the same friend groups, went to the same high school, and worked at the same jobs. Everyone loved it, but I just could never fit in. All the parties, parades, gala balls just weren't for me. Well, I used to want to do those things until my brother Johnny passed. Things changed ever since he left. I changed, my family changed, but the world continued to move on. Johnny died because he was intoxicated at a frat's party and fell down the stairs and unfortunately broke his neck. Well, at least that's what the eyewitnesses says. Eyewitnesses being his friends, aka his frat brothers. But I don't believe that's what happened, and that's not what happened. What killed him was his so-called friends, because Johnny wasn't an extreme drinker. They tried to make him look sloppy during his trial, but I know that's not what happened. Come back for part 2. Last spring, my brother Johnny died at a frat's party. They said he got drunk and broke his neck when he fell down the stairs, but that was a lie. See, me and Johnny were close. He'd tell me everything. The fraternity he joined was very strict. He said if they ever broke a house rule, they'd leave them standing outside during the winter with just their drawers. The fraternity seemed like a lot to deal with, but he wanted to be a part of the brotherhood and was extremely dedicated to it. But he did have a few brothers that didn't like him. He was scrawny, so he was like the most picked on, but don't let that fool you. He could hold his own until the night he died. I truly believe someone had it out to get him. Like I said, Johnny wasn't a drinker. He actually didn't like alcohol. He drank on occasion to fit in with others, but he had a limit. Someone pushed him down those stairs. I just needed to find out who, but I have a huge feeling on who did it.